And now, please welcome to the stage, Mark Tuttle.
Well, here we are again. Good morning, everyone. I guess it's afternoon now, right? Did you guys enjoy the first day of SOE Live yesterday? We're going to ramp things up considerably this morning. So I want to welcome all of you here. We are in the Celebrity Ballroom for a rather auspicious occasion. I also want to welcome, by the way, the folks on Twitch that are watching from around the world. And let's hear it for Twitch, sure. Now, I was watching social media last night, and I noticed some real interesting trends that were popping up. A lot of people were talking about wanting to see this as it happened, wanting to be a part of this so they can remember where they were when they got their first eyes on EverQuest Next. How many of you remember the first day you started playing EverQuest? It should be everyone, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you have that feeling again. And I think when you see what the team has to present today, you're absolutely going to agree that this is a day you will probably not soon forget in your gaming career. Now, before we get to the good stuff, I want to talk a little bit about EverQuest. So over the last couple of months, we have asked you guys to tell us what EverQuest means to you. Now, in that time, we've received hundreds of videos with your stories, your personal EverQuest stories. We've seen stories about friends made, relationships formed. We've seen stories that are funny. We've seen stories that are enlightening. We've also seen stories of people overcoming personal challenges and even tragedies in their life. Now at SOE, we have watched every one of them, and we wish we could show them all to you here. But instead, what we're going to do, we're going to start things off with just a brief look at your EverQuest story.
This is my EverQuest story.
My name is Ben O'Neill, and this is my EQ story.
And this is my EverQuest 2 story.
Hi, my name is Christopher.
And my name is Chelsea.
And this is our EverQuest story.
My EQ story is that EverQuest was actually my first experience on the internet.
My story begins back in the summer of '99.
So I started playing EverQuest in 1999.
I had first come to NORAD and EverQuest in 1999.
Oh, EverQuest, you changed my life forever.
This is a story of adventure. This is a story of action. This is a story of exploration. This is a story of love.
How do I encapsulate 14 years of fantastic memories of the thousands of AAs, hundreds of levels, groups, raids, zones, and missions, and all the people I've met along the way? Well, I figured it out, and it's a command that EverQuest had on day one. It's a command I've used through my entire career, and I bet you've used it too. Hail. Hail more than anything, let me interact with the EverQuest world.
Norath had made my world bright. Until one day, Norath went dark. I suffered a massive ischemic stroke that left me mostly blind for nearly a year. Although this is what I saw of Norath for most of that first year, I refused to give up on Norath, all of the friends and memories I had made here. I continued to struggle to play, and as I did, my vision began to return. 2 years later, present day, I have regained nearly all of my vision. I fully believe that without this wonderful game, my world may have stayed dark forever.
I was living in Chicago in a little one-bedroom apartment, and I went to the game store and said, hey, what's a good game that everyone's playing? They're like, oh, this game just came out. It's called EverQuest. And I'm like, okay. He's like, but you need the internet for it. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to get the internet. So let me try this game. And of course, I called my cable company, got internet, and started playing EverQuest, and immediately was totally immersed in the game. Was amazed at the giant world, all the great things that you could do and see, and became a big fan right away.
We decided to meet up in real life and go out on a date. One thing led to another over the next year, and on December 11th of 2011, we got married. Now, who here remembers the old rhyme that we used to use while we were in elementary school? First comes love, then comes marriage, then come the parents pushing the baby carriage. Well, that rhyme exists for a reason. And on January 18th of this year, Dane was born. No, not that Dane. This one.
Started playing EQ1 in 2002. I was 12 years old. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I had to stop playing baseball. They told me sports, out of the question. So my friend showed me EverQuest. He showed me how to play. I found out that the gist of the game was that you run around and you attack stuff.
So it was one of the coolest things when I got my Epic as a bard. I was one of the first people on the server to get it, and I put it in my hand after I'd gotten it, and I was so happy about it, and I started to play a song, and you know what happened the first time? I stabbed it right through my head. So for those of you that played the game, that was one of the biggest things that bards complained about, so I made sure that when I came to the company to work here, it was the first bug I actually fixed at the company. So
I always remember the day when he called us over to his computer and said, "Hey, check this out, this is where the barbarians live," and it blew us away that he was just in this grassy, hilly area in this cave fighting these, dog gnolls, slaying them, and then he'd go through the little tunnel and he'd be out in this snowy tundra. And at that time, that was just mind-blowing because this game was so epic.
I remember leading some of my closest friends into the city of Cabalus, where the Ixar live, and praying that my invisibility spell wouldn't wear off as we tried to find the sewers and defeat the evil vessel Droslin.
And I'm running towards the tree line, and I'm thinking, that's it. I'm done for. And I see, all of a sudden in my peripheral, I see these player characters running along the tree line, through the tree line, and I'm thinking they're not gonna care. They're just gonna pass me on by. But no, they intervened. They rescued my butt. They killed all the gnolls and everything else. And that's how I got into my guild. That's how I met my guild mates.
And my wife comes in and she's all ready to yell at me, and I have my daughter on the desk next to me. It was a big U-shaped desk next to me in the car seat, which is kind of a little rocking thing. And with one hand, I'm rocking my daughter, and she's just quietly sleeping away while I'm killing orcs. And the other hand, I'm using the mouse and the keyboard and killing. And my wife looked at me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching the daughter, and I'm getting some loot over here. Is there a problem?" And she just kind of looked at things over and said, "No, I guess not," and walked away. So proof that you can do both at the same time, folks.
Next thing I know, I got a message from the #1 guild in the world. They paid for my transfer, and I've been there ever since. That was about a year ago. And here I am. I am that guy. I'm Mergoth Memorandum, #1 paladin in the world.
Out of nowhere, a high elf paladin showed up, and she said this, and I'll never forget. She said, "I understand who you..." No, she says, "I know who you are, and I understand what you do, and I respect that. So I'll give you a choice. Either jump into the water or die by my sword." Now, this was an actual interesting proposition, because if we jumped into the water, there was a huge shark in there waiting to eat us. So the last second, I decided to jump into the water with Newtman. But at the same time, I sent my pet to go ahead and keep the shark busy while we swam away to safety. So, no, some interesting adventures, but that is my EverQuest story.
That's my EQ story.
And that's my story.
So, at the start of this video, you asked, what is my EverQuest story? Well, this is my EverQuest story, and I live it every day.
We're in the process of completing our family by adopting 2 little boys. None of this would have happened without EverQuest.
If it wasn't for EverQuest, my life would not be what it is today.
Thank you, EverQuest, for all that you've done for so many of us, and the differences you've made in our lives. Thank you.
Wow, the day is here. Can't tell you guys how excited we are to share this moment with you guys. It means more to us that our #1 fans are here, assembled in this ballroom, to watch the unveiling of something that is a real passion and a dream for us to have made. You know, EverQuest Next is kind of an interesting story because it's been remade. This is the 3rd remake of the game. You guys actually, those of you that were here that year, actually got to see the #2 remake. You didn't even get to see the first one. It is incredibly, incredibly important to us that when we launch the next EverQuest, because EverQuest was the genre-defining game in its day, it was important to us that we actually make something that was equally monumental, something that would blow your mind, something that would make you feel like, wow, this is what online gaming is going to be for the next 15 years. I mean, think about that. We just celebrated the 14th anniversary of EverQuest. And when you look at the video that we just had, it's amazing how many lives have been touched by this amazing game. We are in awe of all of you and all of the stories that you have. And if you don't think that it touches us when you bring your kids up to us and say, hey, you know, this is our new son. We met playing EverQuest. We hear that so often and we love it. It really brings a smile to us and makes us feel like what we do matters. And we love what we do. But you know what? None of this would be possible without you guys. All of you. You are what matters. You are the ones that actually make this game come alive. And so I would like to offer a toast. Please, we should have some champagne glasses on your chair. This is a thank you. For 14 years, you are wonderful players. I would like to say thank you very much and toast you all for your dedication to this amazing game. And here's to the next 14 years. Cheers. I was told not to pound the champagne, so I won't do that. So, you guys ready?
So that was Joe Castillo, sand artist extraordinaire. See, we were serious about it being a sandbox game. So I'm Dave Georgeson. I'm the Director of Development for the EverQuest franchise. And it is August 2nd, and it's afternoon. So it's finally time to talk about EverQuest Next. As most of you know, it was about 2 years ago that SOE decided to reboot its EverQuest Next project in favor of striking out in entirely new directions. What we didn't tell you at the time was why. It was because enough is enough. Enough of the same game already. It's time to get some new ideas into this genre. And if somebody was going to do it, it should be EverQuest. Again. So we spent the first 6 months brainstorming out what we might be able to do, how far we could go, and what sort of limits we might have. And as we talked, the ideas started to piece together into a whole that was, well, it was really intriguing to us. So we spent the next year prototyping, trying to figure out which of our crazy ideas might actually work. And the cool thing was most of them did. So we're at the point right now where we're building something that's both heroic and social. We've taken everything we know about games and MMOs in general, and we're fusing the best parts into an original shape, well, that we hope will create triumph and passion in the gamers that play it. And that's you guys. So let's talk about that game. And the way that I want to start talking about that game is by talking about the world of Norath. When we decided to build this game and to take it all the way down to its core and start all over again, we decided to go ahead and do that with everything, including the lore. So we've taken a tip from, what they've done recently with the Star Trek franchise. J.J. Abrams kind of retooled some stuff. And what we decided to do was to maintain the names and the places and stuff that you've come to love over time, but tell new stories, interconnect them in different ways. So as you explore through EverQuest Next, as you explore through this new Norath, you're constantly finding stuff that will surprise and amaze you. Now, that's the lore, and I'm going to leave most of that to the panels, but I wanted to take just a moment to let you know that we're going to be releasing new fiction on a regular basis as we go through the development process. And in fact, later today, the first of these stories will appear on the website, EverQuestNext.com. And you can download The Last Stand of the Tear Doll, which will have a lot to do with the sand painting you just saw. And I want to introduce, if some of the authors that are here could stand up right now, please. These are some of the authors that are writing our stories. In fact, they'll be outside and you can talk to them after the show here. Maxwell Drake wrote the first story. Thank you, guys. Anyway, so you also want to see what the game's going to look like. Well, to tell you how the game is going to look, I want to start with concept art. And in fact, the first concept pieces that I'm going to show you, some of them are areas that you know, and some of them will be new. The first area that I'm going to show you, the first two areas, are going to be subterranean concepts. This first one is a painting of what it might look like underneath Everfrost. Now, as you can see, we were doing treatments of color and lighting and things like that. And when we pushed this concept over to Lavastorm, it looked like this. Now, of course, we didn't just do subterranean stuff. We went for overground stuff too, of course. And this is how Lavastorm will look overground. And we figured that as long as you were going to call it Lavastorm, well, it ought to, have a lava storm once in a while. So that's what we're doing, and we're going for a much more dynamic, exciting look, and more adventurous as you go through it. We also want to concentrate on finding really epic grandeur moments as you move through the world. You'll keep finding things that are just majestic and mighty. We're doing remakes of areas that you haven't seen since the original EverQuest. This is the way Oasis will look. And this is a good shot of Firot. Now, you're going to be seeing a lot more of Firot today as we go through it. But I also wanted to let you know that we're bringing new areas to the game as well. This is a concept painting of Ashfang. And, just to prove that we actually have been doing something for the last couple of years, I'll show you a couple of screenshots here before we get to the actual game.
This is the way Ashfang looks in the game right now. So this kind of detail, the vegetation, the lighting, and everything like that is exactly the way that we want things to be moving. And this is the way a subterranean lava chamber might look. In fact, does look in the game. Now here's the sweet one. This is the way Firot looks. And we really like the lighting. But I don't want to just show you still screenshots. We also, of course, you all want to see what the game looks like inside the game. So this is the game. We're going to run you through some flyovers and stuff before we start to show you action. The first fly through is of Ashfang. So this is the way the game looks as you move through it right now. As you can see, we're doing a lot of detail, the rock strata, the lighting, everything like that. One of the wonderful things about working at SOE is that we get to utilize the technology that other people have created before us. And so we're using the Forge Light engine that was created for PlanetSide 2 in this game. Of course, it's been heavily modified, but you can see that the lighting and the details and stuff as you go through the game are incredible adventure experiences. Yeah, we like the way that's coming out quite well. And then this is Firot. The lighting through the trees, the feeling of a heavy humidity, all of these things contribute to an adventuring experience where you never know exactly what's going to be over the next rise or what's through the next archway. And we're going to be visiting this a lot as we go through today's presentation. But yeah, we definitely like where this is going. How do you like it? Great. Well, then I'll show you a little bit more of our tech. We, of course, have a really cool time of day system, and that has some really, really huge benefits as we're adventuring through the world. Here's a shot of that. So this is all time sped up so that we can show you the whole day as it progresses. But you can see that as the sun moves through the sky, the lighting changes all the way around the world. And as the sun sets, we see a true night, which is a really exciting thing to adventure through. Okay, so that's the way our world looks. Now there's a lot more to it than just pretty pictures. So what we want to do is then now take you to the way that we developed our characters and the different races of Norath. So we started out looking for something of a more heroic fantasy look this time around. We wanted to make sure that we had a kind of a rough and tumble look. We wanted to have a real dynamic kind of movement system, and we wanted people to feel natural when they were being acrobatic and showing wear on armor and things like that. So the look we started to nail down was this kind of thing. So as we started out, oops, screwed up my own stuff. So anyway, we started out looking at the humans and looking at the way that they were shaped and the way that their armor stuff was, so that we had more of that rough and tumble look. And then we decided to take that and to extrapolate it through all the different other races of Norath. The first one that we looked at was the dwarves, and since I've already kind of screwed that up, we'll go ahead and show that to you. So the dwarves are very robust, very stern, occasionally surly, but lots of character. And then when we got around to doing the elves, we wanted to make sure that they were kind of the almost diametric opposite, so that they were an extremely beautiful race. And this is the way the elves look in a game now. We wanted to make sure that dark elves had their own look, very distinctive, and so we gave them some really deep lore also, which we'll talk about more in the panels. And this is the way dark elves look in the game. And then we gave a huge facelift to a couple of other races that you're familiar with. We wanted to make sure that the ogres were a lot more intelligent this time around, more organized, much more militaristic. And so that's the ogres. And then I'm only going to show one more race for right now, but I wanted to show you the way the Karens have been remade. Some of you have seen, of course, the Gabor painting, but this is the way that the more lionish Karens look inside the game now. And you'll see that in action in a few minutes. So then we wrapped around back to the humans again, and we finalized the look and feel of the way that their features were. Because one of the things that we wanted to do was make sure that this was a really robust role-playing game. That the people that like to do machinima or messing around with their friends and having fun and telling jokes and stuff like that could show that expressiveness on their face. So we took care to exaggerate a couple of the features that would allow you to see that kind of expressiveness even at a distance. The eyes, the mouth, they're exaggerated just slightly. And when you trigger manual emotes or use SO emote, you get this kind of expressiveness range inside the game. Now, not everybody is familiar with SO emote because it's only in EQ2 right now. But SO emote, just to recap for everybody, is this really cool tech we have where you can have your webcam on your monitor, and as it faces your face and you move your face in real time, so does the character's face move inside the game. And that kind of effect, whether you're triggering manual emotes or using SO emote, it looks like this. And I think you'll see that expressiveness like this just does not exist in any other game. There you go. Okay, so that's the way our faces looked, and that's the way that our characters looked, but we needed to make sure that you had lots of good gear, lots of great ways to express the way that you want to look. So in EverQuest Next, the way that you look is entirely under your control. If you decide that what you want is a chainmail bikini, then that's what you can wear. If you want full plate or you want really cool clothes, that's what you can wear also. So we have developed a system by which we could create all kinds of stuff at a really rapid rate and at a very high detail level. We think that we like where that's going. And when you take that kind of detail level and you combine it with cloth and hair movements, you get this kind of effect and the characters start to really come to life. So let's see those characters engage.